Hi everyone, my name is Carson Dickey, and I will be presenting my play that I chose for our project, A Rose for Emily, by William Faulkner. It was a short story, but it was adapted into a play in, I believe, the 80s or 70s, by Joseph Robinette, who is a Tony nominee. It follows the life of Emily Grierson, a woman manipulated by her father for her whole life, basically codependent onto him. She could not really function without him. She was strayed away from socializing with anyone outside the house. It was just her father. The father would pass away, and she would attempt to escape this trapped life of being dependent on a man who is not even there, and try to change and socialize with the rest of the world. But she is betrayed, and she regresses back, lost in her own home. She, losing control of her life, she takes control of another one's life, the life of her betrayer, killing him and keeping his body in her home for the rest of her days. The town would go on change without her, but eventually her crime would be discovered after her death. Yes. Poor Miss Emily Grierson and her betrayer. Now, there are three characters in this play that all truly matter. There is Emily Grierson, Emily's father, and Homer Barron. Emily Grierson is the main character. Her presence is felt throughout the entire play. When a lot of the gossip from the other characters and a lot of the conversations are all about Emily, her life, how she lived, etc., long even after her death. How to describe Emily, some of her traits that I've written down. She was isolated. She was dependent on her father for her entire life. She did not know how to really operate, how to live in the world that she was in. She was uncontrollable. She lost her life, basically. She couldn't control her own life because she was so used. And so, no, not even used. She was just accepted the fact that the direction of her life was controlled by another. And when she tried to fix that, she was betrayed. Her life stays the same throughout the play, despite the change she wants to do. She only becomes more unstable and regresses back to that prior state, back to this going and living in her home, which has become her prison, essentially. While the rest, she stays in the past. While the town, it moves to the future. There's new infrastructure. There's new laws. The tax exemption that the previous mayor had granted her had long expired. She was insistent on it. She lived in the past. Even her writing in the play, I was in the play, so in high school, so it was very interesting. But even her writing's antiquity is of antiquity, a heavy cursive that even the people of the town of Jefferson in the late 1800s had a hard time with. She's an outsider. Outside, despite living in the town and being a prominent aristocratic member, she is lost. She is on the outskirts. She doesn't socialize. She has no real connections. And she's a victim of herself and a victim of her father. Her father does not appear in the play at all, from my understanding, but the effect that he has on her, the selfish desire to go and basically control Emily, who Emily can talk to, who Emily can have in her life, is felt throughout the play, as is Emily. Now to our right, we have Homer Barron, the betrayer. Homer Barron, he's a construction worker. He comes from up north and he's sent to the town to help improve the town's roads temporarily. He comes down and he's very charismatic. In the book, he is gay, but in the play, he is a bachelor forever. And he basically takes advantage of Emily Grierson and her advances and her vulnerabilities in order to go and get ahead in life temporarily. He's always looking to the future. He doesn't want to stay in one place. It's always about change, the next job. And he is also an outsider and a victim. He's an outsider from the town. He doesn't belong there. He's from the north, and he's only there for a quick to go and fix the roads and leave. And he's a victim for falling into the cycle and trap that Emily's father and then Emily Grierson continued. Yes. Why does this play matter? Why should you care? In a year such as 2020, what would require social distancing and a pandemic spreading fear among the masses to where we can't even feel safe at school, where people pass away at school, it can be hard to remember that to go, be together with your fellow man. We're so caught up in isolating, staying away, staying safe, that we forget to not truly isolate as human beings. Yes, we self-isolate. Yes, we social distance. But to truly isolate is to block someone out. And some people have been doing that in this pandemic. I myself am a victim of that. And I believe The Rose for Emily is a cautionary tale against that, about the effects, how it can help an audience learn to never truly, truly isolate themselves or others. My personal experience, I was in this play in high school, and I was at a very bad time in my life. And I wanted to be left alone. But the togetherness and the teamwork and just the general socialization that the play itself brought to me when I was in it and the effect afterwards, I feel like it's helped me. I feel like you can help others. Never truly isolate yourself. Be there for others, even if it's 6 feet apart. Remember, everyone, separate. We're all separate in this pandemic for safety, but we are together. All right, and that is my presentation. So I hope everyone enjoys.